because stuff comes at us. So when your parents were growing up, what was the most important things that they had to learn? They had to learn knowledge. They had to learn a lot of information. Why? Because they didn't have the internet. We didn't have the internet. And who had all the information when we were growing up? The library and books, but in the classroom, who had all the information? The teacher. You probably know more than a lot of teachers today on a lot of things just because you have so much information that they don't know about. And where did you get it? You got it off the internet. Right. And as you get older, that will continue. So knowledge per se is not as important today for you to get into school as it was when we were growing up. You know what you need to learn more than anything today? You need the knowledge, obviously, but you can get it in a lot of places. You need what?
You need to learn how to use computers.
Well, for sure. You need to learn how to, and put it another way, you need to learn how to ask questions. Asking questions in today's world is really important. You need to look at something and ask all about it. And actually, I'm sorry? Exactly. See, you're making the connection, right? The rabbis knew that really to learn critically and to think and to understand, it wasn't so much the information, it was asking the questions to best understand the information. So asking good questions, that's what's really important. I love the glasses business, right? The difference between Peshat, what the text says, and Drash, what the story says. Okay? And I'll tell you really fast, because this is the glasses of the internet. She came in, it must have been the 6th grade, if it wasn't the 5th grade. She showed them a site about this creature that lives on Earth. A creature, not a well-known insect, I think. And going through the site, the 6th grade, I think it was the 6th grade, learned about its habitat, learned about its behavior, and then she showed them all these links about it. And you could click on the link to learn more about it. There was one problem. You know what the problem was? It wasn't true. The insect doesn't exist. Okay? But there's this whole website. And so you have to be able to learn the difference between real websites and not real websites. And she taught the 6th grade a trick. If the website ends in a .com, you have to be really careful of those sites and the information in .coms. Why? Because anyone can buy a .com and they can do with whatever they want with it. But if it's .edu, okay, it's an educational site which comes under a lot of restrictions and rules that they have to follow. So already, if it's an .edu, you know the information is better, but you shouldn't just accept it without doing what? You have to ask questions. And then .org also is better than .com. So those are the glasses of the 21st century. The Gap bag was great because, to me, that's about, just because we have the internet is not the source of all. The internet and technology is a tool. Okay? It's a tool. We'll put the internet in here and add it to the toolbox. But where else can you get wisdom? Actually, you're not going to get a lot of wisdom from the internet. You're going to get knowledge. Where might you get wisdom to use that knowledge well?
A teacher.
A teacher. Where else will you get wisdom to use that knowledge well? Library, right? Books that have been around for a long, long time and are tried and true. And that's why those books survive, and that's why people still read them. Like the Torah, for instance. Okay, what else? Parents, right. Okay, so our Gap bag is that we don't, just because technology is fast, and just because it's, quote, sexy, it's not the only source. Then the magnifying glass. Anyone know in the 21st century what the magnifying glass would be?
Kind of like if you go like a museum or something and it like shows you like the detail of the past and stuff.
Okay,
Stuff that you don't know about.
great. Another example?
Your eyes.
Eyes, your own eyes, yeah, relying on yourself. More and more we have to rely on how we understand the world. It's true. Because if we just accept everything that's out there, we're going to be in big trouble.
Yep. Like if you ask a question, ask more about the question, and just keep adding more until you have it makes more sense to you, or keep asking more questions.
That's right. I would love that if all the parents, instead of saying to you when you got home, what did you learn today or what did you do today, to ask you when you got home, what questions did you ask today? What questions did you ask your teachers today? What questions did you ask each other today? Because that's a lot deeper in terms of where you're going and what you're doing. And then I love the chain. Because what was Mrs. Gaba talking about with that chain? What was that chain about? Whose generations? Ours, meaning the Jewish people. And that chain is incredibly important. Is that our only chain? No. What other chain do we have? We do have the food chain. And fortunately, we're on the top of that one. But what other chains besides the Jewish chain that really is ours as well? Especially in the 21st century. That's still Jewish, but yeah.
There's with your family, there's generations and generations of people like your ancestors.
Correct, but you know what other chain we have? We have the universal chain. We are a link with all peoples of the world. In the 21st century, when our great-great-grandparents were growing up, most of them in Europe, okay, some in America already, their chain was their little shtetl, and they didn't know much beyond that, all right? Today, you can talk to somebody anywhere in the world that you want to. We're connected to everyone today. How many of you know that 2 weeks ago, at the 7th and 8th grade minyan, one of your fellow students in Hillel Day School celebrated becoming a bar mitzvah, as we do on Monday and Thursdays, and he has a cousin who couldn't be at his bar mitzvah celebration at shul because he's in Mongolia. And so we set up the laptop, and so that the camera faced the shulchan and Aron Kodesh, and the cousin in Mongolia could watch his cousin celebrate becoming a bar mitzvah in real time at Hillel Day School.
Why was he in Mongolia?
He's doing research or working. So we're connected to the world. We are linked to everyone in the world today like we've never been linked before. Go ahead.
Where is Mongolia?
Where is Mongolia? It's like in Asia, far away. Okay, we should. If we were Mrs. Radner, I would go to Google, I'd pull down the map, I'd get the globe, and I'd show you. So
It's across the pond.
right, it's across the pond. But alas, I am not Mrs. Radner. So I want to end with the following. You guys have been great listeners. Just like the rabbis asked questions, just like the rabbis worked together and collaborated, they shared thoughts and ideas, just like they thought critically, just like they were all over the place, non-linear, so it's the same for the 21st century. And that's the beautiful thing about day school education, because it comes together. How many of the adults in this room got a kick out of the fact that during their conversation with Mrs. Gaba, they had a hard time staying in English, right? They intuitively wanted to go to the Hebrew. And I love to say, how many 8th graders, let alone 5th graders, in Farmington Hills and West Bloomfield and Birmingham can speak seamlessly in 2 languages. And think about what that does for critical brain development. Okay, Mrs. Mossman, where's Mongolia? All right, go point to it. First, go point to it.
I see it.
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
It's right
There you go. All right. So he was in Mongolia. Now, can you zoom out to where we are? Can you get Mongolia and the state of Michigan on one view? See, we could never do this when we went.
Mongolia is there,
Right?
and we're over here.
Yeah. So, as I recall, it was 9 o'clock at night in Mongolia. It's 12 hours, and it was 9 in the morning here. So the timing worked out perfectly. And where else can you do that, right? I mean, it's really cool. Well, I don't know about you. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for inviting me.
The kids were great.
Thank you.
Oh, I love it.